Welcome to South Africa, an amazing country filled with a diverse and rich culture with a great story behind its history. And welcome to FTD Facts, where our history has been looking at great stories behind people, cultures, and places and animals from all around the world. And today, we are returning to the country known as South Africa because it is a country that has great interests and has some interesting things to teach us. Now, hey everybody, welcome to the channel. My name is Dave Walpole. Now, before I get in this video, I want to know, what do you like most about your family? I mean, come on, you gotta tell me something. I mean, like, do you like your mom the most? Do you like your dad the most? Or is there something that you like most about your family, like they're always there for you? You know, let me know your thoughts on your family down there. Now, here on FTD Facts, this is a part 2, like I said, to our first video, because in our first one, we really didn't dive into too much history of the country. So how did South Africa start? How did it form? How did it come all together? Well, if you exclude tectonic plates shifting the country around to put it where it is widely believed that the region of South Africa had human inhabitants as early as 170,000 years ago. And this was in caves in the area known as Gauteng province, which most of you may already know is called the cradle of humankind. As it is not only inscribed as a UNESCO zone and is well protected, it is a location that has the remains of our oldest ancestors. But in 1924, they found the remains of hominin fossils. Now, these fossils suggest that the sub to the Homo species, which include Homo erectus, Homo sapiens, and others, lived in the area approximately 3 million years ago. But to get to some really actual, somewhat documented facts, we gotta go fast forward all the way to the Bantu movement. Approximately 3,000 years ago, South Africa was a region that was a part of the biggest human migration in our prehistory. It was known as the Bantu Expanse, and Bantu is a word for approximately 300 to 600 different groups of people. Now, this expansion took almost a whole millennia, and what happened was people moved from the west parts of South Africa all the way into the rest of the country, which led to the creation of the Kingdom of Mapungubwe, and as well other tribes such as the Zulu tribes. For example, the Kingdom of Mapungubwe lasted from 1075 to 1220, and because of them, the Kingdom of Zimbabwe was created as well. And for those who are wondering, the UNESCO inscribed Mapungubwe National Park was home to these people on Mapungubwe Hill. And during excavations, they found 24 buried skeletons of the people belonging to this kingdom. But by the time the Portuguese had landed, things changed much for South Africa. On December 4th, 1487, Bartholomew Diaz landed on the shores of Walfish Bay in Namibia. And by January 1488, he had landed in Groot River in South Africa. However, with the decline of the Portuguese navy, Jan van Riebeck and his fellow Dutchmen came into the country, constructing a small settlement in Cape of Good Hope in 1652, which Cape of Good Hope is now called Cape Town. Now, the Dutch had owned Cape Town until about 1795. This is when the British occupied Cape Town and many other colonies around it to stop the French from invading during the Napoleonic Wars. Now, the Dutch really didn't agree with this. They moved off, created their own farms, their own communities, and they were called Boers. And eventually, with the accumulation of all these people being Boers, they created their own governments called the South African Republic and the Orange Free State, which pretty much acted as their own countries. And in the 1800s, South Africa was a complete mess. There were many civil wars. Britain also had a fight with the Boer republics in the First Boer War in 1880 to 1881, which resulted in the defeat of the British, only to have them return for the Second Boer War from 1889 to 1902, effectively defeating the republics who fought against them. And for 8 years, the British ruled South Africa until about 1909. This is when they introduced the South African Act of 1909, which gave the country some sort of independence. And on May 31st, 1910, the Union of South Africa merged all of the states together, creating one big country. But by the 1900s, things got even darker for South Africa. Because in 1948, the National Party, under Prime Minister Daniel Francois Malan, introduced apartheid, which was racial segregation. And this forever changed a lot of things within South Africa. One of the first laws that was put in 1949 was the prohibition of mixed marriages, which made it illegal for people of different races to either be sexually involved with each other or get married. And in 1950, they introduced the Population Registration Act, which segregated people into 4 different groups. You had black, white, colored, or Indian. And what was bad about this is, well, it segregated a lot of people. People weren't allowed to do certain things. There were different rules for different people of different colors and races. And on top of that, people were forcibly moved around the country because certain areas of the cities were designated by race. As a matter of fact, during the years of 1960 to 1991, there was the largest forced removal movements in human history, as 3.5 million people were moved from their homes to their designated places. And nothing really changed till about 1990 when the National Party decided to dismantle this Racial Segregation Act. As well, they lifted the ban on many organizations such as the African National Congress, as well as with the help of the great man Nelson Mandela, whom was released from jail in 1990 because of the lift of this segregation law. He assisted with President Frederick William E. Clerk to remove racial segregation, thus giving the first universal election vote in 1994. This allowed Nelson Mandela to become the first black president in South Africa, who replaced Frederick William E. Clerk. However, because both of them worked so hard together, they both received Nobel Prizes for their work. And although the years have gone by, Africa still may have some problems with race, political agenda, unemployment, and much more, but the people of South Africa aim to be strong and positive. And although South Africa has had its dark times, it has its very positive character traits too. For example, the Bukrans Bridge in South Africa stands at 216 meters above the Buchan River. It was not only in 1990 the first bridge to bungee jump from in South Africa, but it is also the highest commercial bridge that you can jump off in the entire world. And the oldest man to jump off this bridge was 97-year-old Morkeet. Also, South Africa must really love recycling because they got the Guinness Book of World Records for recycling the most steel cans. Collected from many different schools around the country, they collected 1,971,026 steel cans. That's pretty cool. Good initiative. Now, we all may know of Alcatraz in North America, the prison island, but it's nothing compared to Robben Island. This island prison held political prisoners such as Nelson Mandela and is approximately 3.3 kilometers north by south and 1.9 kilometers east and west. Now, throughout history, this island was used as a quarantine zone for leprosy, it's used as a prison, it also even had its own whaling station. But by 1961, it was used as a prison until about 1996. And by 1999, the area had been inscribed as a UNESCO heritage site, and oddly enough, this prison was home to 3 presidents of South Africa. They are Nelson Mandela, Kgalema Motlanthe, and current president Jacob Zuma. But let's move away from this little island that is in Table Bay and talk about Table Mountain, a weird looking mountain that one can see from Cape Town that is completely flat on top. And not only is she a national park where there's a lot of hiking to do, but it's a mountain that stands 3,558 meters above ground, and on top of the mountain, the rock is dated to be 450 to 510 million years old. They estimate this mountain is about 600 million years old and is one of the oldest mountains in the entire world. As a matter of fact, it's 6 times older than the Himalayan mountains. But that sums up South Africa for us. I know we talked a lot about the dark sides of South Africa, and we'll probably do more history in future FTD Facts videos. But my name is Dave Walpole, and I want to thank you guys so much for watching. Be sure to tune in, subscribe for future videos. If you guys have a recommendation for us, let us know down there in the comments below. But that's just us scratching the surface of what South Africa has to offer. And although there are some dark sides to the country, it is a country that produces a great and many people. From art to sport, this is a country that has a great culture and a people who understand the value of themselves. This is South Africa, a country and place where the past struggles remind its people to always move forward with a happy and hopeful heart. So thanks for watching, guys. Once again, if it's your first time here, hit the subscribe button. Don't forget to leave a comment down there for a future video. And if you guys want to support us further, you like what we're doing, head on over to Patreon, check out our exclusive offers. And above all, if you haven't seen our first video on South Africa, you guys might want to check it out. It's really quite interesting. As well, you can check out my personal favorite video that I've done in the last week, the Russian space program. I don't know, it just was a really beautiful and amazing video, and I learned a lot. And hopefully you will too. So check out those videos, and we'll see you guys in the next video. Cool? Bye.